I'm Dana Denha, and you're watching FYI. More and more protected bikeways are popping up around the city, but with the new comes some confusion. Learn how to best navigate the area's bikeways while keeping cyclists, pedestrians, and drivers safe in the process. The Ann Arbor Bikeway is a two-way separated bike lane network in the downtown. Separated bike lanes provide cyclists with their own travel lane, separated from vehicular traffic, that uses concrete curb islands and delineators to provide this separation. We will share some important safety information for using the bikeway. Cyclists must come to a complete stop at intersections with stop signs. Cyclists must stop, look both ways or all ways for traffic, and proceed in the order of arrival. At a four-way stop, the person to the right goes first. And always be aware of pedestrians and crosswalks. They have the right-of-way. At most signalized intersections, cyclists follow the pedestrian signal. Stop when the signal indicates don't walk. Go when the walk symbol is displayed, and proceed with caution when blinking. Be extra cautious of vehicles turning. Your safety is the top priority, even when you have the right-of-way. Where the bikeway crosses Huron Street, cyclists follow the bike signal. Stop when the signal indicates a red bike, and proceed with caution when the bike symbol is yellow. Two-stage turn boxes are another element you will find at signalized intersections. These boxes provide a safe location for cyclists to wait before turning and crossing the street. There are two steps to using the turn box. Step 1. When the pedestrian signal displays the walk symbol, proceed to the turn box and position your bike in the direction you want to proceed. Step 2. Proceed through the intersection when the walk symbol is displayed. You will also notice green stripes on the pavement in many locations along the bikeway. These markings indicate a conflict zone, typically a driveway entrance. This will alert people in cars and on bikes to watch for other users. Use extra caution when you see these green markings. Whether you are an experienced cyclist, new to biking, or a family with young children, the Ann Arbor Bikeway provides a safe and comfortable place to ride for people of all ages and abilities. Stay tuned, and we'll be back with more in exactly 30 seconds. It's an art town and we're just living in it. When you explore the city and its inhabitants, you may be surprised to find out how many dabble in the arts. Take a look. Twice annually, artisans take over the west side of Ann Arbor for a one-of-a-kind strolling art tour.
It's a typical quirky kind of Ann Arbor thing, so that's fun in itself. Plus, there's a lot of local artists, and it's so much more interesting to buy something from somebody who you've met and can explain it to you, what it means, and it's really personal.
The Westside Art Hop boasts 17 venues featuring 40-plus artists.
I'm creating a tribute to a person, a dedication. I take them into mind as I'm creating the bird in terms of their likes, their preferences, their taste. Even some of their characteristics, for example, like glasses or even like their fashion sense. And then I create a handwritten dedication about the bird through the lens of the individual's highest self.
I've always loved picture books, and I think the best ones approach art, and it's this whole sense of creating a partial narrative between the image and the words. So I would say that interplay is one of the more unique aspects of what I do.
It's a great way to see such varied artwork. There's glass artists, there's textile artists, there's painters, there's almost any avenue, any medium that you want to see, they'll find it in this neighborhood.
Don't miss your chance to peruse and even purchase one-of-a-kind arts at the 2022 Fall Westside Art Hop on October 1st and 2nd. For more, visit westsidearthop.com. School bells are ringing, and that means safety on our roads is a priority. Between school buses, crosswalks, and the influx of pedestrians, our roadways can get congested fast. Learn more about back-to-school safety in this month's City Roundup in 60.
Hi everyone, I'm Officer Jamie Atkins with the Ann Arbor Police Department. It's that time of year again. It's time for kids to go back to school. Here are some basic traffic safety tips we should all remember. First of all, be alert, especially when you're in school zones, and be alert of the speed and make sure you obey that speed limit. Also, watch for school buses. Red flashing lights and an extended stop arm mean that that bus is stopping to load or unload children. We have 19 different locations across the city that are staffed with crossing guards. They help cross our children and get them safely to school. If you see a crossing guard in the intersection with their stop sign held up, make sure you stop and wait until that crossing guard has cleared out of the intersection. Don't block crosswalks. If you're stopped at a red light, waiting to turn, or looking for a parking space, make sure that you steer clear of the crosswalk so that people don't have to walk around your vehicle and possibly put themselves into moving traffic. Remember folks, it's our job to keep kids safe as we go back to school this fall. Thanks everybody for watching, and parents, I hope you have a great and safe start to your school year.
Leslie Science and Nature Center fosters a love for the natural world. It's a space for kids and adults alike to learn, grow, and explore the beauty of the outdoors. The center has been working for years to create a nature playscape for young visitors to discover their wild side and learn about the plants and animals that make our area special. Joining me is Susan Westhoff, Executive Director of the Leslie Science and Nature Center. Welcome back to the show, Susan.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. It's great to see you again.
It's nice to see you too. I'd like to know a little bit more about this project. You know, this has been going on for years. Talk about how it sort of began, how long it's been going on, and where we're at now.
Absolutely, and thanks for asking. We actually started a nature playscape over 10 years ago with an Eagle Scout here at Leslie. If you can believe it or not, Ben put a small playscape in here, and we saw how much it was loved and utilized, and it became part of our master interpretive plan in 2015 when we talked to the community. We talked to our city partners, our community partners, and we heard that people loved it and would love to see something bigger. So in 2015, we identified it as a priority and brought in a designer from New York, and we met again with community people who gave us input on what they'd like to see. This is the short version. And then our site got shut down. We had environmental contamination that we discovered as part of that process, which is wild to think about now, but that was just 2019, led right into the pandemic. And then thankfully we had a grant we were able to keep through all of that and move the location and started construction a year and a half ago. And you can see behind me, we have our underground slide and tunnel ready to go, and kids are loving it every day now.
I can see a kid right there behind you, just climbing right in.
Look, I didn't even stage that. That's perfect.
Oh, we'll talk about this idea of it being, you know, you're utilizing the natural world. You're utilizing nature. It's not like a bunch of plastic that we're seeing.
That's right. It is a natural playscape is meant to integrate and utilize natural materials. There's a building area where kids have logs and rocks and all sorts of great materials. They build amazing structures. They don't realize they're learning engineering and real science principles because they're just having fun, which is the idea. And then our underground slide is made out of metal, both for sustainability reasons, but also accessibility and inclusion, where we learned by talking to a bunch of different partners that plastic slides can often be something that kids with cochlear implants can't utilize because of the static. So upgrading to a metal slide allows for more people to be able to use it, which was something we were happy to do.
Wow, that's amazing. So you said in 2019 you found some contamination. You guys had to was it starting the process over again?
It was to some extent. So we didn't have to, we chose to move the location of the playscape from the area that we had surveyed and planned for, had designed a playscape around. So we had to redesign it a little bit and look at the different landscape that we were moving to. The good news is we took an area of the property where there was invasive species that needed to be removed anyway. So we were able to eradicate some buckthorn and honeysuckle, things that we didn't want there anyway. and be able to take that space and make it this gorgeous, usable space behind me.
What so far, what do we have in place? Tell me about like the different, I was looking at the stuff you sent me. You have like an activity zone and stuff, but not everything's created yet. Some of it is and some of it isn't. So what is currently
That's
in
right.
place?
That's thank you. That's a great question. The activity zone is almost completed. There is a short visible slide on the front hill behind me that is not here. It's a back order issue of supply chain, right? Which we all keep running into. But otherwise it's done. The Eagle's Nest is partway built and our building area is all constructed. That's all volunteer built. And then the water play area will be built out next spring. It is fully fundraised. At this point, we have all the money to make it happen with accessible pumps, and kids can direct the water and dam it up and redirect where it goes into a rain garden. So that will be coming in 2023. And then right now we are actually fundraising for the outdoor teaching space, which will be a multifunctional 3-sided amphitheater.
Talk about why people should donate to this project and how it's benefiting the community in so many ways. Obviously, Leslie Science is a gem to the city, even with or without the Playscape. It was always something so special to take the family to.
Thank you. I think it's very special too. It's an honor to work here. It is an amazing Playscape for a lot of reasons. One is that it's free. It will always be free for everybody and anybody visiting or in our community. We're proud to be able to offer this for free. The Playscape, also this outdoor teaching amphitheater, will allow us to do more programs that will either be free or low cost. So think of nature story time programs for preschoolers, more birthday parties, scout programs, and overnights. It'll be a multifaceted space that, as the community helps us fundraise to build it, they can then utilize it on their own with their families, renting it or coming to programs. So it will really be by and for the community.
Can you tell me a little bit more about this idea of incorporating learning into the Playscape and how it sort of works and how kids are learning without even realizing it and hopefully taking that home with them?
Absolutely. So we are not going to be signing everything and just saying, hey, right now you're learning physics. We want it to be much more implied and understood in their experience as opposed to explicit. But when we have summer camps or other programs here, we are actually taking the kids out here and running experiments of what goes fastest down the slide and then theorizing why, creating a hypothesis of what will go fastest next. And they may not realize what principles they're learning, again, explicitly, but then they walk away and they go home, they tell their parents that the acorn went faster than the leaf and why, or that why did the leaf get stuck halfway down? There's friction, and they start to understand these concepts just by playing within the space, and kids coming out on their own are doing the same.
How did you come up with these different ideas? Did you work with a firm or something to decide what the nature Playscape would consist of? And like I said, there's these different areas. So you're thinking about different aspects of it, and we'll see them as the time, by next year.
A team of staff and volunteers actually visited the Botanic Gardens and Howell Nature Center and Dahlem and Jackson, a bunch of different places near us, and reviewed and talked with them. They were very open about what worked for them, what they saw visitors enjoying, what they wish they'd done differently. So learning from others who had built one already was certainly important. And then we hired Rusty Keeler. So he's an expert out of New York State. He has studied really interesting playscapes happening out in Norway and Germany, where kids are allowed to build and free play without rules, without confinement. And so we were looking at how do we take what we've learned from other natural spaces, learn from Rusty, and create a space where kids really can do what they want to do. There are very few rules here. The biggest rule is not leaving your trash behind, treating the environment with respect. We're hoping that Leave No Trace can be part of the Playscape.
You've been working, I'm not even sure how long you've been at Leslie Science Nature Center, but you've seen it change throughout time. You've seen it with and without the nature Playscape. Talk about how you've noticed how families are enjoying this, how it sort of changed the location in a way.
So, I don't know if you've ever said this, but lots of people say we are the hidden gem of Ann Arbor. And we have tried very hard to become unhidden, if you will. I've been here for 11 years, and we often are a place that people don't know about. And the Playscape is meant to both elevate our programs and what we can do within our programs, but also be an attraction for people to come to Ann Arbor, spend time here and then go up to Cardamom or go to a local restaurant or bookstore. spend some time in Ann Arbor and enjoy what this town has to offer. So we really see already that people are coming here seeking out this space, and we anticipate as we finish the next sections that will just continue.
Yeah, I mean, I know I will take my daughter to a playground to play, but I never really thought about taking her just to Leslie Science to play, which now I want to. I mean, we were there for the Earth Day Festival and we didn't even go on the Playscape. We just hung out and it was so much fun. She didn't want to leave. So I think that's something that we should all be thinking about when we're thinking about some activities to do with our kids, or even, you know, just with grown-ups, going for a walk and checking out the grounds, right?
That's right. Well, we were, I will turn around for a second. We were part of, and you'll see it in a second, the Embracing Our Differences. Do you see that artwork in the background there? Mm-hmm. That was over at Gala Park and Riverside over in Ipsy this year. We are really trying to reach out to other community partners and see how we can be part of more projects and just raise the visibility of Leslie as a resource for everyone in the community.
Can you tell me about some of the programs you have? Because this is also like a good reason to go there. You know, you have these different programs that you can take part in, but then you can also stick around and play.
That's right. Pack a picnic. We have several programs coming up. New Moon Hike is happening every month, September, October, November. A lot of people do full moon hikes, but we like to go out when it's dark and you can really pay attention to the wildlife around you and talk about who's out there in the woods. And it's a great experience. Fireside Fun is a free program that we run, and a lot of folks take for granted the fact that they can have a bonfire in their backyard, but a lot of residents in Washington County live in apartments. They don't have that option. So Fireside Fun is a great space to sit around a bonfire, bring some marshmallows or a hot dog if you want, and create community. So we're excited to have that every month. Critter House open hours. We have this fantastic Critter House facility with native Michigan wildlife. It is open twice a month in October and then every Sunday in November. There's a suggested donation, but if you can't make that, we want you to come. So it's free. There's no judgment at all. Just come enjoy the wildlife and learn a little bit with our educators who will be there. And then the last event to share, people might be looking for animal haunts. We've been doing it, I think, 15 years now. Our non-scary, family-friendly Halloween event will be coming up on October 29th. I'm personally super excited. It's one of my favorite events, and tickets are going on sale by the end of this week. So that'll be up soon.
Exciting. Yeah. You know, when you guys are creating the Nature Playscape, out of curiosity, are you taking stuff off the property? Like you said, you had to cut down invasives and move stuff around. Are you using wood from the property or different materials?
Yeah, that's a great question too. Sometimes we are. It depends on the materials. So some of the invasives will reroot, which we don't want them to keep growing. So we actually do dispose of them. But there are some rocks that we've been able to reuse, some logs, some trees that were diseased that came down, and we added them to the build area so that kids could watch them deteriorate or build with them. You know, they're part of that natural scape now, which is really fun.
That's great. Yeah. I mean, I was just curious because it's like obviously all about nature and everything.
Right.
So I'm like, you got to have some materials on the property.
Absolutely. It'll just keep adding and changing. That's the great thing about a natural space.
Well, before we go, why don't you just tell people why they should take advantage of the Nature Playscape and Leslie Science in general? I mean, just to see the birds even, honestly.
That's right. Well, and we've been here almost 40 years, which is amazing to even imagine that, up here on the north side of town. So we're easy to get to, and there's a parking lot here, so some easy parking. All of our pathways are accessible, so for folks to know that everyone is welcome. There is not a public restroom other than a porta-john. So just to be clear about that for folks' expectations. But it is free to visit 365 days a year. Our birds of prey in their outdoor enclosures are also free to visit anytime. And we actually just acquired a few new birds as part of our wildlife ambassadors. So some more birds that have been rescued and rehabilitated. We have a new barred owl, a red-shouldered hawk, and a barn owl. It's very exciting. And then of course the Playscape. So if you haven't been here in a while, there are some new things to come and see and experience.
Well, I look forward to seeing the Playscape fully realized, which is not that far away now. So congratulations on everything that's been happening. And thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
For more on this and other programs, visit a2gov.org/CTN. Visit youtube.com/CTN Ann Arbor to see all that we have to offer. And remember, like, subscribe, and ring that notification. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time to FYI.